Hey, Savvies. Happy Tuesday. No, I'm not Abby. No, none of these lovely ladies are Abby. We hacked into her account and we are telling you everything that we want to tell you about the Savvy system. So welcome to our Tuesday edition of Savvy Tell All. If you can hear and see me okay, let me know that you're watching with us in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. I know we have people all over the world that are tuning in today. And the goal of today's live is to give you a sneak peek, an inside look into the journey of some of our students and what it looked like for them to decide whether or not the Savvy system was for them and what it looked like for them to jump in and find success inside of the Savvy system. So without further ado, we're going to do some introductions. But before, I want to drop you a quick link so that you can see something. Savvy System is now open for enrollment. We only open the Savvy System 2 times a year, in the summertime in July, and then later or at the beginning of the year in January. And the doors are now open for just a little bit longer. Melanie, when do the doors officially close?
They close on Friday, July 30th at 10 p.m. Central.
Right around the corner, y'all. So if you want to find out what's inside the course, if you want to see all the amazing bonuses that are included, also see some testimonials, and just find out all the information, you can check out our amazing and beautiful sales page right there at SavvySystem.com. So check that out. But wait, I don't want you to go there yet, okay? I'll put this back up later, but I just wanted to give you that inside information that it's open, and it's open until Friday, July 30th at 10 p.m. Central, and I promise you our tech team will close the doors when that time is. So what I want to do right now is allow all of these lovely ladies introduce themselves. So let's do some introductions. I'll go first. Melanie, you can go after me, and then we will go around the table. So my name is Rachel Dorsey. I am the Senior Director of Product here at the Virtual Savvy. I currently live in Austin, Texas, but we are in the process of relocating just about an hour and a half south. I am married to my amazing husband, Joe. We've been married for 15 years. We have 3 littles, 10, 7, and 3. So super excited to be here with you as a member of the TVS team. Melanie, you're up next, my dear.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Melanie Fountain. I am the SavvySystem Director with the Virtual Savvy. I am born and raised in California. I'm a single mama of a beautiful 7-year-old little girl. And just like these lovely ladies, I was also in the Savvy system and ran my own business until I started here with the Virtual Savvy.
So cool. Christy Silva, you're up next.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Christy Silva. I am the CEO and founder of Silva Life. I currently live in New York City with my husband, Jeff, and also business partner. I actually started as a VA about a little over a year ago. And then I niched down into systems strategy. What that means is I just love systems, organization, and tech. So I just help people get digitally organized.
Fabulous. Erica, let's have you go next.
All right. Hello, I am Erica Fullerton. I own Erica & Co. We are a virtual assisting agency. I have personally been in business for almost 3 years now. My agency is about a year old at this point. And we serve mostly MLMs and network marketers as kind of our niche. And yeah, I live in Michigan with my husband and we have 3 kids. They're 7 and younger. So super excited that I get to stay home with them and do this full time. And yeah, I'm excited to talk with you guys today.
Busy mama you are, Erica.
Yeah.
Busy. Vanessa, you're up next, my dear.
Hey there. Like Rachel said, I am Vanessa. I am the founder and owner of Vanessa Ann Operations Management. I joined the Savvy System in January of 2019, and I started off my VA business as an executive VA, and then I became a certified director of operations and transitioned my business into operations management. I live in Southern Illinois in the Metro St. Louis area with my husband, Mark, and my daughter, Lila, who is 2. And so I also enjoy getting to work from home with my little coworker.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Christy Balfour. I am owner of CV Services. I have been with the SavvySystem since last September. I also work a full-time job. My specialties are I'm a branding specialist, and I've just added Facebook group management. I live in Minnesota, and I have 3 bigs, 34, 32, and almost 22. But you can tell from my accent, I'm not from Minnesota. I'm a Georgia peach, and I'm working to get back to Georgia as soon as I can.
Oh my gosh, you ladies are so wonderful. So all of you have been through the SavvySystem. So starting with Christy, tell us a little bit more about your business. How long have you been in VA, and how does your business look differently from when you started the SavvySystem to when you got to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the SavvySystem last June, so about a year ago, and I had never heard of virtual assistants, the online business world. So I was like brand new. I was a personal assistant in New York City, and I thought, hey, if I'm a personal assistant, I could be a virtual assistant. So I stumbled upon the Virtual Savvy, took the course. It was phenomenal, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And after 3 months, I ended up booking myself out, replacing my old income. And now my business, after that point, I had to decide, okay, I'm booked out. Where do I go from here? And you guys also talk about niching in the Virtual Savvy. So I had to decide, okay, what route do I want to go? What do I love doing for these business owners that I'm serving? And I ended up niching into system strategy. So working with different systems, I specifically do ClickUp, which is project management, and HoneyBook, the CRM. And so I niched down into that and started doing project-based things, launched 2 courses and a membership, which is wild. But yeah, so my business has changed completely from 1 year ago. And it's so cool to look back and see, like, starting from zero, being like, what is this thing? I'm going to jump in with both feet and try it. And now my business being completely different.
1 year, that's insane. You're killing it. Now, so Erica, tell us a little, can share with us kind of the transformation in your journey.
Yeah, so I started with the SavvySystem back in January of 2019. I had actually been on maternity leave for my youngest and just decided that I could not go back to work again. It was just too much to keep leaving my kids. So I decided I quit my job on probably like a bunch of hormones and all the things. And then decided, like, as soon as I did, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Like, I don't think I was made to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, I need to do something. So I jumped in. And like I said, my business started with just me. I did that for a while, and then it got to the point that I had so many referrals coming in that I couldn't handle it all myself anymore. And so we've moved into agency mode, and I now have a team of 16 girls that work with me. So it's been an amazing journey.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And so Vanessa, I know, as another mom of littles, like, tell us what that looked like for you and how your business is transformed.
Yeah, so I actually had a similar story in that I joined SavvySystem January 2019 while I was still working my full-time job in retail management, and I was pregnant. And so then I had my baby in April of 2019, and while I was on my maternity leave is when I launched my business. So
oh my God,
that was so kind of share that little same kind of point of connection there. And then it took me, so I still am currently solo in my business, but I have, I started out, like I mentioned, doing executive VA work, so high level admin assistant. And then I felt like there was just a little bit more that I could be doing for my clients to support them more fully. So that's when I decided to, I guess you could kind of call it a niche. But for me, it was kind of like scaling up into becoming a director of operations and offering operations management. And so actually right now, one of the steps in my business that I'm building is actually a sidearm of my business that will be an agency model specifically to support therapists in private and small group practices. So, so I am currently building that on the side and will slowly begin adding people who will then, work with those clients as I bring them on. So it's, again, like some of the others here, I started my business, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary, and what my business looks like now versus what it looked like then, has changed pretty significantly. But to me, I think that's part of what makes being an entrepreneur so fun, is that we get to continually redesign and recraft the work that we're doing.
Oh, so good. And I really just want to speak to that for a second, because what you talked about, and you're niching even further. And there's so many people out there that are saying, well, I really want to work with these type of people, but I don't know if I'm being too specific. And Vanessa, do you find that you've been more successful since you've become more specific in who you're talking to?
Yeah, I mean, I think, how you define success, matters. And for me, success is partly, meeting my revenue goals that are, that we've set with our family. But then the other part of success is like how I feel about the work that I'm doing, right? And so part of what I also find is that the more clarity I get around my message and the people that I want to work with, the more I find myself working with aligned clients that just bring so much joy to the work that I do, because I enjoy both the work and the people I'm working with. And so, like, for me, in that definition of success, like, totally, that clarity is super helpful. But I will just note that when I started, I was generalized. Like, I did not start into a niche. And I was really thankful for my general experience, because it allowed me to get exposure to a lot of different kinds of businesses, a lot of different kinds of people, a lot of systems and processes and tools. And those experiences are really what helped me figure out where I really wanted to camp out and spend the bulk of my time and energy.
Awesome. Now, CB, who's also Christy, but we have 2 Christys here. So if you hear us say CB and you're like, wait, no, that's Christy. She's CB with us today. So please share with us, what that transformation has looked like in your business. I know you're right now, you're working that 9 to 5 and working towards quitting that full-time job.
Yeah, that's right. When I first started, my definition, or all that I knew about being a virtual assistant, was admin. Like, that's all I knew. And I thought, well, I can do this on my own. I can start a business and do this. I'm doing this type of work every day, but I wanted something, I wanted ownership. I wanted something I could do that was mine. So I jumped into the course, and I quickly found out from, I think, in the first module where you do your services, I was like, oh, wow, there is so much out there that you can do. And I'm super creative. I've been creative since the age of 7. And I had done some freelancing for logos and a little bit of branding, but I just never put that together, that was something I could do as a virtual assistant. And when I hit that, when I pivoted, to that, it changed everything for me. And so now I get to tap into my creativity. I, work in Canva, which I love. I work in Adobe Illustrator. There's just so many facets and so many things that you can do with this business. So,
so good. So so all of you started this for a reason. You started your virtual assistant business for a reason. So I'd love for each of you to share with me what your why is. Why did you decide to flip that switch and say, yes, I'm going to join the SavvySystem? I'm going to call on, so we're going to start again with CB and we're going to work backwards again.
So my why is I owned a business, a mortgage company for 16 years prior to the career that I have now. And in the downfall of 2008, everyone knows what happened. I had to close my business and it was devastating. And so I transitioned to what I do now. I'm a technology buyer for an audiovisual company. And it's very high stress. And I wanted more. I wanted more ownership, like I mentioned before. And I also wanted something that could take me into retirement. I'm 57. And I plan on working for a really long time. And for people out there, ladies, men that are 50 and over, you can do this. Age does not matter, and you can keep up. And don't ever let that deter you from moving forward with this. So I want to travel. My husband travels all the time with his company, and I would love to take my business on the road and travel with him. I'm almost an empty nester. My youngest is a senior in college. And also my why is doing this part-time has helped me pay for his college. So that's it.
That's so good. I love that. And Vanessa, what about you?
So my initial why was, as I was having my baby, I wanted to have something that would both like meet our family's income goals, but would give me flexibility. I wanted to be able to be present to my family so that I could show up as the mom I wanted to be. And I wanted to be able to show up as the professional that I wanted to be. And so my current employment situation at that time just wasn't going to allow for that. It was high stress. It was very demanding, and it required me to be really present and on, a lot. However, like that, I kind of also realized that that's not my only why. One of the things that I like to share with people is that I feel like in my career journey, I've had kind of this Goldilocks path. I have, when I used to submit resumes, I would say I have a diversified work experience because I've done a little bit of everything. And every job I would move into, I'd be like, well, this is great, but it's just not quite right, And when I was introduced to the world of being a VA, I finally was like, oh, here's the place where I can use all the skills that I have and all the things that I love and combine them into something that feels just right. And so that has been, I think, like a huge part of my why is being able to build something that I feel like is reflective of who I am and what I desire, in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I want to jump in for just a quick second, Melanie. Sorry, I talked over you. Vanessa, I want you to kind of, I want to circle back to a little bit of your story because you found out about virtual assistants through somebody else, right?
I did.
That was me.
It was Rachel.
That was me. So, this is important because I want our people to hear this. I just posted a general post about what I was doing and this crazy virtual assistant world that I had fallen into and that I loved working from home and loved my business. And Vanessa and I had some connections previously. So we were connected on Facebook and she saw my story and just reached out and asked. And that's what I want you guys to do that are watching and listening, whether you're here live with us or if you're watching the replay. This is your opportunity to lean into these ladies and ask them questions and find out how your story can relate to their story. Are you currently working a 9-to-5? Are you getting ready to leave for maternity leave? Are you wanting to travel, right? Are you living in the city and want to do all these amazing things with your husband and travel? Like, where are you? What fears and hesitations do you have? And lean into these stories as they're sharing and don't hesitate to ask questions here in the comments. And as she was saying that, I just was reminiscing about that and I wanted to pull that forward because I want you, those that are watching, to be able to ask and have this safe space to ask those questions. So thank you for letting me interject, and thank you for bringing me back on.
oh yes, of course. We're not complete without you, Rachel.
I love it. Okay, let's keep going. Where are we in our whys? Who's next?
I think I am. Okay, so my why originally was just that I wanted something for myself. I wanted something that I was still able to do while my kids napped or while they were playing. And I wanted to be able to contribute something to my family. So originally my goal was like, just contribute enough to pay for a vacation every year. Like that's what I wanted to be able to do for our family. Now my why has kind of shifted and I see it from a totally different light as my kids get a little bit older. I love that I'm able to show them that there are other options in life than just going on the straight and narrow path. Like they can create something for themselves that can be even more successful than what they would potentially be doing at a 9 to 5. If college doesn't feel right for them, that doesn't have to be their path. Like there are other options. So I love that I can show them that and show them that like you can create something for yourself based on the things you want to do. It does not have to be somebody else's idea of perfect.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And before we move on to Christy, I'd love to hear from the audience, what's your why? Why are you watching this right now? Why do you want to become a virtual assistant? I'd love to hear from all of you what your why is in the comments. Now, Christy, I'd love to hear what your why is.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, so many whys. I would just say like, from the start, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was always the girl who was Googling like how to make money at home, like how to do this, because I thought it'd be like the coolest thing to work from my laptop, make an income. And that was one of the things that really sold me on Virtual Savvy. I remember Abby being like, are you Googling how to work from home? I'm like, yes, I am. And really what it is my lifestyle eventually, I mean, I'm only 25. And so it's in the plan to have a family one day. I've always wanted to be able to raise my kids and have a flexible job. I was originally going to be a teacher. Then I fell into being a personal assistant. Then COVID hit and flipped my world upside down, as it did many other people. And I ended up getting introduced to the virtual assistant world and community in the Virtual Savvy. And I had thought, if I can build this business and never have my income and my life my job be drastically changed by circumstances in the world, I was like, that's super appealing to me. And also being able to have freedom and flexibility of when I'm working, where I'm working. So traveling, my husband and I in the past year have traveled like more than I ever have in my life. We've gone to all different states, different countries, where we were able to and where we were permitted. But including, I remember it was like a couple weeks into the Virtual Savvy, and I said to myself, it would be so cool if I could start this business and then like eventually spend winters in Florida with my husband's family. And we literally did that this winter, January, February. We were there and we were able to work from our laptops. And it was just so many opportunities that I never thought I'd be able to have, because even though I love my old job, it's just 2 weeks vacation, like standard 9 to 5, or my hours weren't even really 9 to 5. They were like all over the place. And so it was really that, so many reasons, but honestly, freedom and flexibility to spend time with my family and have incredible experiences.
That's amazing. And we see a lot of really amazing whys. Linda wants to be more present with her kids. Rochelle wants more of that time freedom that Christy just talked about. Rochelle wants to stay home with her baby after they're born, and just so many amazing whys. And we all have a reason why we want to start a virtual assistant business. But also, you know, there's a lot of fear behind going into that, right? So can you guys tell us about some of the fears you had when you know, before starting your business and as you kind of got started? And Christy, yep.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, the fear, so many fears. First of all, it was like the largest investment that I had ever made in myself, like besides my college education. It was this big chunk of money, and it was this unknown of like, what is this thing? I'm not even sure. Is it going to work? Am I going to invest this money and then lose it? Am I going to find clients? Are people going to think I'm weird, like starting this journey, like friends and family be like, what are you doing? But I think what really sold me was just, number one, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Once I found the virtual savvy, it was like, that was what consumed my mind. I'm like, I think I could do this. Like, it's so intriguing to me watching all the testimonials of people. That's what sold me too. Like, I would just go and watch the testimonials and go in the Facebook group and see people being like, don't give up. Like, you could do this. And seeing their success stories. And I was like, if the most I have to lose is X amount of money, but there's so much I can gain. I could gain all of these things that everyone was saying. I was like, that to me is worth it. Is it scary? Yes. Is it crazy looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, what if I didn't? I can't even imagine.
Oh man, I love that.
Think too, like, if all of you on the screen and then those in the comments and watching the replay, like, I don't ever want you to get to the point where you're asking what if. I mean, Christy watched those testimonials and she did her research and she listened to other people's stories. And now on the flip side, she's on the screen, she's sharing her story, right? I don't ever want you to get to the point where you ask yourself, what if? What if I would have said yes to the Savvy System? What if I would have said yes to myself? And you've heard Abby and other members of the team say, like, you don't have to buy the Virtual Savvy's course, the Savvy System. Like, there are other options out there, right? Yeah. But we want you to find the best fit for you. And we think ours is pretty dang good, right? Yeah. But I don't want you to ask yourself on July 31st or August 1st, man, what if I would have said yes, right? Or down the line. So really dig deep into those fears and those hesitations as we continue to talk through these together and these ladies share. And don't allow yourself to get to that point where you ask, what if I would have pushed through those fears and those hesitations? Erica, I think you're next, dear.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, mine was the financial part of it as well. I had just quit my job. And then here I am coming to my husband saying like, hey, I'm going to make this huge investment into this thing to be a VA. And he's like, what's that? I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I've read a whole bunch of stuff about it, but we're going to figure it out. It's fine. So I was terrified about that. And then I like kept telling myself, what if I don't make this money back? And then we've just like wasted all this money after I quit my job. But then like, as I started thinking about the option of not doing it, I'm like, okay, but like, what's step one if I don't do it? Like, how do I create this business on my own if I don't have someone kind of guiding me and teaching me the way? Because I didn't know any other VAs. Like, there was nobody to ask. It was just like, figure it out yourself or take a course that kind of teaches you what to do. So I did. I jumped in, and then my fears kind of shifted, and it became like the fear of like, what if I am not good at this? Like, what if I, can't find clients or all these things? But like through going through the program, like each one of those fears went away, because it was like, my first goal was make enough money to pay what this would break down to monthly. Like, if I can get a client that covers the monthly cost, I'm fine. And so I broke that down and figured out what that needed to be. And as soon as I got that first client that did that, I'm like, okay, that fear is now gone. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And so I just, kept going and kept trucking through, and eventually it ended up paying off. So
yeah, it paid off. Now you have how many on your team?
15.
That is insane. Yeah. That is, and how long you've been in? Almost 2 years, right?
Almost 3 years, about 2 years. So
that's so cool.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well done. All right, Vanessa, you're up next. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, I just wanted to ask everybody watching here, what are some of the fears and hesitations you guys have? Starting a business is scary. So what are some of your biggest fears for anybody watching this? And I just really want to say too that, starting a business is really scary, but I also want to ask you a question. What's scarier, starting and trying, or staying where you are? And I really want you to think about that. And then I want to see your answers in the comments. And now, Vanessa, you go. Sorry to interrupt.
No, good question. I can't wait to see the answers.
Yeah, great questions, Melanie. So, I mean, I think I had some of the same fears of just, are people going to actually pay me to do this work? Like, I felt confident in what I had to offer, but I like really struggled with believing that there were people out there who were going to pay me to do that. And I tend to be like a little bit more of a risk taker. My husband tends to be a little bit more security focused. And so when we looked at, making this investment in the SavvySystem, we made an agreement that, we determined what amount of money I needed to bring home, like for our family. And that if I wasn't consistently making that amount of money within my first year, then I would start looking for another job. And actually within 3 months, I had, made my return on investment. Within 6 months, I was making, I was exceeding our income goals. And so, those fears began to dissipate, as I started to just take that step, and that's the thing that I think I discovered is that, sometimes when you have those fears, like you just have to keep walking towards them, right? Like that's courage, in a nutshell. And to me, the risk of, potentially failing was much less to me than the risk of never trying at all. Because I didn't want to look back and be like, okay, I didn't try. Whereas at least if a year down the road, my business wasn't successful, I'd be like, you know what? I gave it a shot and it didn't work out. So now I'm going to do something else. Right. Like, so, but another thing is that even as I've continued to run my business, the fear doesn't just go away. Even now, as I look at kind of creating this branch of my business as an agency, I still find myself asking, like, are people going to pay me to do this? Are people going to pay my team to do this? It's still there. And then I think that's just the point where like we really get into like that mindset work, right? And just talking through with ourselves, talking through with our community of like, okay, like, let me think about this in a different way. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And one thing that I really want to talk about too is the SavvySystem has a 30-day money back guarantee. So you can go in the SavvySystem and you can try it and you can see if this is really for you. And then if within 30 days you decide it's not, then it's risk-free to you. You can at least say you tried. But I know so many people that go in there with that expectation and then just find, what these ladies have said, that, oh my gosh, this is what I've been called to do. And so I really wanted to let you know, for those of you that are fearful of joining and don't, that investment is really scary, know that you have 30 days to decide if this is for you.
So good.
Awesome. Okay, CB. Oh, sorry, Rachel.
Nope, I was calling CB up. Let me hear you there.
I remember when I first started researching courses to become a virtual assistant, and I came across Abby a video, and she was talking about how she had started and stopped all these businesses. Me too. The things that I was involved with was like direct sales or MLM or those kind of things. And I love the products, but it was like, I was more focused on the back end stuff. And I always liked that stuff. So I was really afraid to talk to my husband about it because I thought his eyes were going to roll back and like, oh my God, and I said, and I like put it all out on paper. I explained it to him. I have my rainy day fund, how I'm going to pay for it. And he was very hesitant. And I was very fearful about that because I didn't want to fail. And within 2 months, I started getting clients. And he was like, oh, wow, this is real. This is like, you're really doing the deal. And it just, oh, what a relief that was. That was my biggest fear, was starting and stopping something.
Oh, That's so true. That follow through, right?
Yes.
You know, am I going to follow through with this?
Yes.
And that's why like the community aspect of the Savvy system is what I think is so important, because you have a community holding you accountable. One of the first lessons we have is to find that accountability partner that's going to push you and to keep you accountable to do what you're going to do. And I think that Christy had one more thing that she wanted to add here.
Yeah, I did actually. I was thinking of it as you guys were talking. I feel like something people don't always talk about in this journey is when other people have fears and hesitations and project them on you, like friends and family members. And just as an example, like not everyone in my life thought that I could do it, which is super discouraging. And you guys who are watching this, or maybe you're experiencing this, you might have the same thing, super discouraging, because you're so excited about this new thing. You're also scared. So when someone who you love is like, what is this? Are you sure you could do this? Like having their fears and hesitations, instead of letting that stop me or knock me down, my personality, I could be a little bit fiery. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. In my head, I said that. In my head, I said that. And that fueled me to be like, okay, let me put everything I have into this and really make it work. So if you're telling your people, or you're running it by someone, or you joined, and people that you love are hesitant because they have fears and hesitations, which is normal too, and they're not on your journey, I just want to let you know that I was in the same place, and now those people cannot believe the business that I have.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. And I think too, you pointed it out, is that's exactly what mindset work is, right? It's acknowledging those fears and hesitations and negative energy that you may be walking through, and switching it, right? Like turning it from negativity that you may be feeling from others, negativity that you're feeling in yourself, and switching the mindset and making it positive. Right? So you take those fears and say, you watch me, I'm going to make this work, right? Or taking that fear that you have internally and saying, no, I'm going to push through this because I know I can do it. And one way that you can do that, Abby walked through a great exercise last week during our Biz in 5, is you write down those fears and hesitations that you're experiencing, and you speak truth against them. And that's making that switch to flip the negative to the positive, and fighting those thoughts, and using those fears, using those hesitations to push you forward to say yes. Once you say yes, Vanessa brought up a really, really good point. It's not that they go away. They're going to resurface. But when you've pushed through and gotten to the other side, you know and can experience through those fears once again. In fact, I was just talking about this on a phone call with somebody today. Inside of my moving experience, like, it's not fun. It's hard work, and I really don't like doing it at all. But I've been there and done that. I've been on the other side, right? I've experienced what it's like after that. We have to push through those negative fears and those hesitations to get to that other side. So flip that switch. How can you switch those negative thoughts, those hesitations, those fears, those concerns about money, or not being successful, or being out of your comfort zone? How can you switch those to make those positive? And one way that we can do that, Melanie, let's go to the next one, shall we?
All right, let's talk money.
I love it. I want to hear from the ladies, and we can share too, Melanie. We can totally share our experiences. Melanie, I'll have you start. Is what did it look like in real money figures for you to make this investment? And when were you able to see that return on investment? And so whatever your comfortable level is, share with us what that income looked like and time frame. Melanie, go first.
Yeah. So for me, so you know that I started in the Savvy system, but what you don't know is that I was able to quit my full-time job within 5 months. So at the time in my full-time job, I was making only about $2,000 a month. And so my goal was to at least meet that so that I can quit that job. So first of all, when somebody was even just able to pay or was just willing to pay me and say, hey, I'm going to pay you to work at home from your pajamas while your kid is hanging out next to you playing, that in itself was a win. But but it took about 4 or 5 months for me to meet that $2,000 a month goal just by getting a few clients and talking to people. So within 6 months, I was able to get to those, $3,000-$4,000 months, and within a year, I was making $5,000 months. So I niched as a Pinterest manager, and I didn't niche in an industry, but just by choosing a service, and one of the ways that I was able to get to that is by moving away from those hourly. So when I niched, I also chose those package rates, and so, but when I was able to get an RO, like a return on investment with the SavvySystem, I was already meeting that monthly payment that I signed up for within the first month of actually joining the SavvySystem. So, I think it was Erica that said her goal was just to sort of meet, however, at least replace the payment she was making on the SavvySystem. And I was able to do that within a month. And just by going out there and talking to people and building those relationships. And I think that, that's what a lot of people are really going back to, fears and hesitations, that, how am I going to get clients? How am I going to meet those income goals? And it's really just going out there and marketing yourself. And we talk a lot about that inside of the SavvySystem.
That's so good. Yeah, my goal when I first joined, I was a stay-at-home mama of 2 at the time. Our third one wasn't thought of yet. And my goal was to get my son into preschool and me to get a gym membership. Those were my 2 monetary goals, and just bring that little extra fun money in. That's all I wanted to do. And started the SavvySystem, started from the very beginning, worked step by step, and I was able to pay that monthly installment. I went the payment route. We weren't making a ton of money. I was able to pay that monthly payment within 1 month of starting the SavvySystem. I was making enough to completely pay off the SavvySystem within 2 months, and I was making 5 figures within 5 months of working the SavvySystem. But I started right where I could. Like, I was offering simple services. I was so general, right? I just wanted to get those 2 things paid for. And then I allowed myself to follow my journey and follow the path and decide what I loved doing. So that's where I started, and where my return on investment came in. CB, let's hear from you, my dear.
It was really important for me to keep my money separate from my 9 to 5 and then put my VA money aside. So I took a loan out of our savings to pay for like my first 2 months of the SavvySystem. I started in September. I didn't start taking clients until November by my choice. I wanted to dig into the course, learn more before I did that. And I had the luxury of doing that. I think I paid the entire course off the end of February. And I now, working full time, I average about $2,400 a month with my VA business and working my 9 to 5. Now I'm working a lot of hours, but it's worth it. And I have an end goal of being able to do this full time.
Can we stop and pause? CB, I want to talk a little bit and dig into that for just a second, because I know that there are lots watching and listening that are working their 9 to 5. They feel trapped. They feel chained. They want to quit, but they don't know if it's possible. And you said something really important, and I don't want to shy away from that, is that it's hard work. It's going to take and is taking, right? And I know you, I know what you're doing. I know your story is it's taking hard work and grit and grind to get to that point where you can turn in that notice. But when you get to that point, when you turn in that notice, there's going to be one heck of a celebration. And Melanie too, like when she started, she was in her 9 to 5 and she had that goal of being able to turn in that notice. And I know she celebrated the heck out of that when she turned in her notice. So those of you that are listening and those of you that are working your 9 to 5, it is possible. We want to help you. We want to give you the steps to be able to do that. And you can take this at your own pace. I love how CB did that, right? Like she decided when she was ready to take on clients and she just worked it alongside of her 9 to 5. And soon enough, we're going to celebrate her quitting. So
yes, we are.
We want to celebrate with you too. Sorry, I had to interject. I had to.
Thank you.
No, I actually just quickly want to touch on that too, because it's, it's a season. And I want you to remember that when you're working those long hours, when you're, if you join the Savvy system and you're like, how am I going to get through 70 lessons? When there's those questions of, am I even going to complete this? Always remember that why we talked about earlier. And then those seasons of hustle and hard work and long hours are going to be so worth it. And it is so sweet when you can tell your boss, I'm leaving. This is it. And you can walk away and never look back.
That's so good. Christy, I'm going to have you jump in next and talk about your return on an investment. I want to make sure too that we leave some time for our people to ask us some questions. So let's do that. And we're going to talk quickly about how we celebrate or how we have celebrated inside of our business. And then we'll do some Q&A. So Christy, tell us a little bit more about your return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I had started, because of COVID, my job had taken a pause, yet I was still being paid. So I had stumbled across the Savvy system. And let me just say, the money back guarantee was what sold me, because I was like, okay, I'm going to try this for 30 days. And if I get inside and I don't like what I see, or it's not for me, then there's a guarantee. So I decided to do the payment plan. And I started grinding away. After a few weeks, I got my first client at $800 a month. And then in the next month, I just had one client. My boss had come to me and said, okay, here are the new dynamics of your job because of the situation in the world. And I had talked to my husband about it and said, we can't do it. It's just too much. And the dynamics weren't what we wanted. So we decided to part ways. And mind you, I was still living in New York City. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start looking for other jobs. But this is really what I want. And so I had one client and I was like, I'm just going to work my butt off and see if this thing works. And I ended up finishing the course and replacing my old income in 90 days, which is so crazy and such a blessing. And it was hard work. I was really grinding out, trying to make it work, finding my clients, going through the Savvy system. But in the second month, I was able to pay the whole course back because I did the payment plan. And then 90 days, here I am. I had replaced my income, which is crazy. And then here I am a year later in February, hit my first 5-figure month. And then it's been 5-figure months since.
Amazing.
So, totally worth the investment, if you ask me.
I love
Awesome.
it. Melanie, shall we dive into our favorite topic here at the Virtual Savvy? How we celebrate. Let's hear from everybody. Roundtable. Vanessa, we'll start with you. And then we'll go to Erica next and kind of go around. But I would love for you to tell our people, what is one specific win that you had inside of your business, and what was the specific way in that you celebrated that win? Vanessa, go.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with a financial win. Although there's lots of ways to win in our business. But when I first started my business, my goal was to bring in $1,800 a month, because that was going to meet the income that our family needed. And then when I got my first client who was paying $1,800 a month,
Wow.
I was just like, okay, like I am now, like I had that original goal has now been met in one client's payment. And that was a pretty big deal. I mean, I felt, I think, really validated in that moment that like, okay, yes, what I have to offer is valuable and people will pay money for it. And so what I like to celebrate with are things that I feel like make my life easier as a work-at-home mom. And so I signed myself up for Daily Harvest.
Awesome.
Because I like to have like healthful, food available to me that I don't have to cook. And my husband would make frozen pizza every day if the world, depended upon him to feed them. So that's like, and that continues to be like, if I get a little extra boost or something, like that continues to be like one of the ways that I like to treat myself. Or I do like a massage or a facial. Those are the kinds of things that like feel good to me. Cause I'm like, okay, our income goals have been met. We now have excess. And so I get to treat myself.
Oh, I love it.
Erica, what is one win you've had? How did you celebrate?
Okay, so I celebrate every win, first of all, with crab cakes because I love crab cakes and we live in Michigan and it's like not easy to come by. So anytime there's a win, those are always involved. On top of that, depending on the win, there's more. So I had decided that my first $10,000 month, I was going to buy myself a new computer. So I actually bypassed 10,000 by about $4,000 more than that 1 month. So I was under 10,000 the month before, hit over 14,000 the next month. So I decided I was going to go even bigger than just buying myself a new computer. And I got myself a fantastic giant iMac, and it is probably the love of my life, but don't tell my husband that.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well done. And I think what's really important to notice in what Erica said too is the range of celebrations, right? Like sometimes we may just treat ourselves to an amazing crab cake or an amazing cup of coffee from our favorite place. Sometimes we go big, right? So way to go. Way to celebrate that $14,000 month with a new iMac. I love it.
Oh,
Christy.
man.
Okay, agree with what everyone's saying about so crucial to celebrate every milestone. Do not let them pass by. Acknowledge them, celebrate them. So typically, Jeff and I, when we hit like financial milestones or things like that, we'll go to a nice dinner or do a nice date or something like that and like celebrate. Cheers to Silva Life. But something very specific was I love self-care, and like I will say like out loud at random times, like, man, it would be so awesome if one day I could do this or one day I could do this. One of my random goals was like, when I have like this amount of income or whatever, I would love to have an unlimited amount of bath bombs. Like whenever I want to take a nice bubble bath, I have an unlimited amount. So when Jeff joined me full time, we decided that we needed to, especially as entrepreneurs, self-care and making sure you're like spending time with yourself and getting the things that you need is so crucial. So I decided to sign up for a Lush bath bomb subscription. And every month they get delivered to my house. And it's just a little like reminder to be taking care of myself, but also like a celebration that like you're where you want to be. So that's one way I specifically celebrated.
I love that. Is there some way that we can like draw a line to make that like a business expense? Like,
wouldn't that be nice?
I know.
I love it. I love it. That's so fantastic. Melanie, how did you celebrate? And then we'll end with CB before we take questions.
So I agree that celebrating the little wins are so important. And we even have this whole new milestone celebration built into the Savvy system that even just by telling somebody about your business, you could get a t-shirt or you know, we have totes and all of that. But so that we totally believe in celebrating all of the little things. But for me, the big flip the switch moment, as Abby would say, is when I was able to put in the notice to quit my full-time job. Like that was the goal when I first started. And when I was able to do that, that's when I was like, I've made it. And so I actually took my daughter and I on an overnight vacation to the beach. It's our annual tradition. And we went, instead of just staying in a little motel just so we could do it, we went and stayed right on the beach at a really nice hotel, and her and I got away and we celebrated together.
That's so fantastic. As CB is answering and telling us how she celebrated a specific win, I want you to think of a question. Like, what are some questions that you have that you want to ask our lovely ladies that are here with us today? We have a few minutes that we can wrap up with some Q&A, but be thinking of those questions. Drop them in the comments. I know that our team has been there this whole time answering and supporting questions in the comments. So thank you, TVS team. But we want to answer your questions here live while we have some extra time. So drop those in the comments. CB, share with us your specific win and how you celebrated.
I'll make this really quick. I'm holding out for the big celebration, but when I get that Dubsado email that some money just came through, I have a nice glass of red wine.
Oh, yes.
Cheers, dear.
I love it.
Cheers, dear. If you choose any type of red wine, what is your bottle of choice?
I love cabs.
Yes.
And my most favorite that I have to keep, I can't have it all the time, is Camus.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Keep celebrating. All of you ladies on the screen, you guys are doing amazing, amazing things inside of your business. Keep celebrating, keep receiving those bath bombs and pouring those glasses of wines. Erica, don't buy an iMac every month. You may have to back off. But for those opportunities, both small and big, and continue celebrating. I have been watching your journeys, you 5 ladies, for a while, and it's so fun to see where you were and where you are, and I can't wait to watch where you're going. So, ladies and gentlemen, with us today, what questions do you have? Melanie, I pass it to you, my dear. Pull up some questions and answer what we have going on in the comments.
Awesome. Well, we have Rochelle who asks, I work in the financial industry for the past 15 years. I don't know how that can translate as a VA. Any thoughts? I don't really have any experience in these niches. And
go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to know if any of these wonderful ladies can speak on this. I'm going to bring this down so that we don't block any of your lovely faces.
I love it. Who has some thoughts?
I would say, coming from previously in the mortgage industry, I think I see job opportunities for financial in the financial industry, needing either admin work or all types of things. So there are jobs out there. You don't have to niche to like a certain thing, but you can niche to that industry. Could help someone out in the industry.
I would also add to that and say, if you want to stay in the financial realm, you could do bookkeeping or accounting. I know people who were accountants in corporate and then they do like financial analysis or creating like business plans for people. And I see all the time in the online business world, people taking their corporate experience and creating their own unique business from it. And I think it's so cool and so valuable to bring that in and serve people in that way. So I think just really exploring what you did for 15 years in the financial realm, how can you translate that to the online business world?
Awesome. And I also just want to speak to that. Inside the Savvy System, we really teach you how to use the skills that you already have. So as you go in there, we talk about, looking at the skill set in your tool belt right now. But then we also teach you how to add on new skills that you're really interested in learning. Because if you've been doing this for a long time, then, you might want to totally shift services. But start slow, use what you already have, and then start making those small pivots so that you can, so that you don't have to, I totally lost my train of thought here. So you don't have to be overwhelmed with the idea that I don't have the skills. You absolutely have the skills. You just have to lean into them a little bit more.
That's really good. I don't want you to think that it has to be an exact translation, right? Like if you're in the financial industry, it has to be financial related tasks. No, I want you to think outside the box. A perfect example would be Christy was an educator. I was an educator, right? Like what are the skills within being a teacher that can cross translate? Making a plan. Right? Like you can create a plan for sharing content, right? Like I want you to look at not making it an exact translation, financial to financial, right? Look at the skills that you currently have and that you may have used to be able to do past job experiences.
Absolutely. And Ariel and many other people out there are asking, how do you balance your VA business and your 9-to-5? So first I'm going to call on CB and then I'll talk a little bit about that too.
Love it.
Time blocking.
Yes.
My schedule looks like this. I get up at 5 every day. I work from 5 to 7 on my VA business. I work 7 to 4 for my 9-to-5. I take off a couple of hours for dinner, family, and then from about 7 until 10, I work every night except for Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm allowed to give myself those days as a break because I was sort of getting to a point of being burned out just a little because I was really going at it hard. At one point, I was working like 75 hours a week. And so once I started that, I had some great coaching that taught me to do that. It just opened up, just the little things of taking those 2 days off was huge for me. And it gave me a breath so that I could step back and get back into my business and not feel so tired.
That's so good. And I'm actually, time blocking is exactly what I was going to talk about too, but I really want to talk about intentional time blocking, about, having a really solid plan for those pockets of time that you do have to work. We always call it action over perfection. So thinking and setting those goals for yourself. So for me, when I was working my 9-to-5, my goal was just to start getting clients. I think I went the first year in my business without a website. So just because I knew I could use my portfolio and my relationship building skills to go out there and just start getting clients. So I used my time to focus on the things that really mattered. What was going to get me clients? What was going to help me towards my goal of quitting my 9-to-5? What was going to help me be able to stay home with my daughter more? And with those intentional time blocks, that's for me, that's how I was able to quit my job within that 5-month period while also working my 9-to-5.
I love that. And I know that we have so many questions coming through in the comments. But today's focus was really about these stories and you being able to see an inside look at what it looks like to say yes, to start that journey and see what's possible. Did y'all hear from these ladies, what you can do? I don't want you to get to the point again that you're asking yourself, what if I would have said yes, right? I want you to think of what's possible when you say yes. Okay. If you have any questions, Melanie, can you put that link back up there again? If you have any questions, our team is actually live on the website during the day. If you have questions or concerns, reach out to us there. You can always email us at hello@thevirtualsavvy.com. I know that we're going to go back through the comments and our team is in the comments and we're going to answer your questions and help and support you. But I know that we've already been here for an hour and I know that we all have lots of things to get done today. So thank you for joining us today, ladies. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing how you celebrate. I'm going to go sign up for a Lush bath bomb subscription.
Highly recommend.
Sounds so good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today. Thank you, everybody watching. And then if you have questions, again, email us, hop on the website, and we are excited to see you guys in there. And I hope that you all have an amazing day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies.